like to start by thanking our coaching staff, our guys have, well, they've logged a bunch of miles, so I appreciate their effort. It's a great group. The biggest thing about this class is a bunch of character, leaders, winners. It's a heck of a group. Very proud to have them, so I'll open it right up to questions.
Mark, every year there seems to be a surprise announcement. I wonder if the surprise this year is you didn't lose a single commitment. How hard is that?
It's very hard. I think that's the big thing about this group. They're winners. They got great character. We didn't lose one guy since the start of the season, not one player, and that's a special group.
Mark Bullock, Bullock seemed to be, well, he was I guess maybe the last choice of one of you all.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to evaluate and see what he's all about. Talk about it a little bit.
Well, he was the last commitment. I could, remember back to my days at Florida State with Coach Jimbo Fisher, and he always talked about, it's one thing about your top end guys or the guys that were committed and the guys that were at the top of the stars and all that. But when you're signing a group of 24 players, and he really made a big impact on myself and a big emphasis on this. It's not so much about the top of that class. It's not so much about the 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that everybody likes to talk about. It's about the guys at the end that you sign. If you look at our guys through the years, we've had some great success with adding some players late and doing some proper evaluation. Again, with our staff, they do a phenomenal job of identifying players very early. And that's been the key to our success, is identifying the right guys early, staying on them, and building that relationship. But it's also about finishing and closing. And a guy like Ebule was a very strong finish for us. He's a guy that kind of blew up a little bit late, got an offer by us, got an offer by Florida, late in the process, was recruited by a lot of other mid-level schools, and Ebule is a terrific young man with unbelievable upside. When you look at a guy like that you get committed late in the process, who's all of 6'5", 6'6", 250 pounds with unbelievable upside, that's what you're looking for. And again, I look back to my lessons from Jimbo in making sure you're getting the right guy at that 22, 23, 24 slot, because that can make all the difference in your program as you move forward. So very proud of Ebule. Unbelievable story, unbelievable young man, great student. He'll be a great addition to our program.
Mark, would you say it's by far your best class when it comes to athletes?
I'd say it's by far our best class, period, but by athletes as well. I just do. I feel so good about this class top to bottom. I feel like the biggest thing is, and I may be a bit redundant when I talk about this, but it's about their character, about their leadership. You look at these guys, and a bunch of these guys are captains on their football team. They're very, very good students. They're competitors. They're winners. You just look at the 2 quarterbacks we have in this class, and if I'm talking about one, I'm talking about both of them. They are unbelievable leaders. They're winners. They're competitors, and you can say that about the whole group.
Do you have a Benny Snell in this class, a guy that can come in and make an instant impact?
I don't know, because we got to wait and see, right? A year ago, we didn't know what we had in Benny. We knew the characteristics that we identified about him being a tough, strong competitor, a guy that we had confidence that would make our running back room better, a guy that was very mature, and that's what he is, but he also produced maybe a little bit more than we realized as well.
Mark, I know you had said on the radio earlier today that you believe the class was done. Is there any update on if this is the finished class, and when did you know that this was
This is our class.
Did you know last night that this was pretty much the group?
I did.
Mark, you've made your money out of Ohio, but this year you really spread out to Maryland and Florida. How important was it to?
I believe we touched on 8 states and 8 players out of Florida. The big thing was this: we know we're going to start inside out always. We're going to recruit our tail off in Kentucky, in our hometown. We're going to start there, and we're going to branch out from there. We do consider Ohio, and certainly Southern Ohio, as kind of home base for us. We've done very well. It's very close in proximity. We have strong relationships there. We're going to continue to do that. But we had to branch out. That was part of the plan with some of the coaches I hired a year ago, and Big Vince, I think, is going to come in here in a minute, and he deserves a lot of credit as the recruiting coordinator. Has always done a great job. But you also have to credit our entire coaching staff. We really do this as a group, and I really feel very good. You got to give a shout out to Eddie Grant as well. He went in. I wanted to get back into South Florida, Florida in general, but I wanted to get some players out of South Florida, and Eddie has such strong relationships down there and did a phenomenal job. But also touching on the 6 other states that we did, that's kind of what we've been doing, and it was nice to see us have a lot of variety there.
Mark, how many of the guys that you got in December and into January, do you think those were because of the success you had on the field this year? Did you get those guys?
I think we had a strong nucleus of players. Again, if you look at these guys, and that's what I love about this group. As I went into their homes, I said it every time I was in there, what a joy they were to recruit. The prospects and their families and getting to know them, they've been so loyal to us. And many of them have been committed to us for a long time. Many of them could go to plenty of other quality schools. And people coming at them left and right, a lot of it doesn't get publicized, but they just dismiss them quick, so it doesn't get a lot of traction. These guys could have gone a lot of places, and so they've been very solid with us. And then we got some additions in January or in December following the Louisville game. Like I said, it certainly doesn't hurt us. I think our staff had strong relationships. We were doing very good, and I guess you could say that. I mean, we haven't lost anybody, and so that's a good thing. So it certainly doesn't hurt.
Mark, Pascal and Wright, outside linebacker, what do you like about their versatility? Is that where you see them on this?
I do. I see them both outside backers. Josh is a guy that definitely can play more positions, and you'll see how his body grows. But I'd like to start him and lock in the role like a Bud Dupree, and play him standing up. But much like Bud, when we went into our 4-down stuff, Bud was on an edge and put his hand down. Was a great pass rusher as well. But he has great versatility. You see that now in the NFL with Bud as well. And Josh is the same way. He has the ability to drop, but he has exceptional burst and pass rushing ability, so he's very versatile. And Alex is another guy that, or Jordan and Alex, they're both the same. They're both very long, very explosive, can rush the passer, and are going to get bigger and stronger as we go. But all those outside backers I'm very excited about.
Mark, several coaches in Ohio have said that Lynn is one of the most dynamic playmakers they've ever seen. What about him stands out so much?
Lynn is exceptional with the ball in his hands. He's explosive. As you know, I grew up in the same hometown, and I can't tell you how many people would call and tell me that he's the best football player they've seen come out of that area in a long time. Now, I take great offense to that. but I guess that was a long time ago. But no, he's just exceptional. He's just dynamic. He can play a lot of positions. What also makes him special is he's so comfortable taking the snap. As you all know, we've made some great headway with the Wildcat, and with a guy like that, he's comfortable with the ball. You can add a few wrinkles with a guy like that because he's good at some of the read schemes that are involved with the direct snap and then reading, whether it be the power read, zone read, just different plays where there's some options built in where we haven't had that luxury yet. Plus, he can throw it just enough. He's not going to be our quarterback or anything like that on a steady diet, but he can throw it enough to keep people honest, and that we can build off of. But he will play receiver. You may see him some in the backfield at running back. He certainly could play anywhere on defense, but I think he's the type of guy where he changes the digits on the scoreboard, so you want to put the ball in his hands as many times as you can.
Mark, Rich Brooks had wins but not facilities early on here. You had started getting facilities but not wins, and now you have both. Has Kentucky ever had more to sell in your mind?
I don't know.
Now that you put all that together.
I don't know. That's for you all to write. You've been here. Some of you have been here longer than me, but I know I feel very good about what we have in place right now, starting with our coaching staff, the people in our building. We have quite a few very good young coaches. We have some great experience. We have quality facilities that we can compete against the very best. If you remember, back at my very first press conference, I told told everyone that we would recruit the very best players and recruit against the very best schools in the country. I think half of you laughed at me, but that's not going to stop, and we're not going to win them all, but we're going to win our fair share, and we're competing and we're fighting to get the very best players we can, and this group included. There's quite a few options that these players could have gone, and I'm happy they chose us.
You guys made Jedrick say no to you repeatedly. Is that part of it? I mean, you say you're not going to win them all, but just to never give up on those elite guys?
Well, just anybody that we recruit, it's our job to make it difficult for them to say no. To come to Kentucky, we're going to do our very best to recruit the best players that we think fit our system, and very, very happy about this group of these signees. The 24 guys we have that we added to our program are going to make us better. They're going to make the community happy. You're going to enjoy covering these guys and getting to know them. There's a bunch of quality young men in here. And again, it starts with the winning attitude, the leadership, the character that these guys have.
Mark, how much do you enjoy evaluating DBs and recruiting defensive backs, and how do you feel about how the secondary, where that's going?
Yeah, I feel very good. I mean, I love recruiting defensive backs, and more importantly, I love developing them. So, you know, I think this is a great addition. I want to say we added 5 guys that can all play, that are all versatile, and you know, I think they have big upside.
On the character, I'm sure every year you look for character. Did you put any more emphasis on it this year, or is that just kind of the way that it ended up falling in place?
No, I think every time, you know, as we build, as Kyle mentioned, as we build this program, as we win, as you see the product on the field getting better, as you see the facilities improving, and as you see our attendance increase and the excitement in our stadium, it all works together. You know, as I also mentioned, day one is it's going to take a big commitment from a lot of people, and we always accept that. I accept my role to put a quality team out there that people want to come see. But as we do that, we need to fill this place, because let me tell you, the guys that came here and late in the season and watched our Georgia game and see that environment, that's the environment that we have to play in front of every week, and that's what we're competing against. You guys know, you travel around and go look at the other SEC schools. Winning or losing, they're packing them in.
Mark, you've been in favor of an early signing period in the past. What do you think about this specific proposal with flights in the past?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I think, you know, if one of the proposals that's out there right now, if they keep it the way it is, I don't think any of us were in favor of signing anybody in the summer prior to competing in their senior year. None of us are for that. I'm not for that. But if we can add something that looks like they may add something in December, I would be for that. It would clean up a lot and save us a lot of traveling. You know, as I mentioned, I appreciate our staff and our families, our wives. These guys travel around the clock, you know, around the country, spend an awful lot of time away from home, and some of it is just babysitting, and it'll clear the air a little bit. So I don't see anything wrong with giving guys 2 options. If you want to get it out of the way and knock it out of the way in December, so be it. Like I just mentioned, every guy that we just signed, well, not every one of them was committed, but the ones that were committed from the first game of the year to the end, what's the harm in giving them the opportunity to sign early?
Mark, I know at one point you thought this was going to be a pretty small class just because of the scholarship numbers. What made you decide that you needed to
Players.
get all?
Too many good players out there. Too many good players. We had momentum. You know, we have momentum. We have players. There's some attrition that's built in, and you know, that's going to happen. You got to realize we have never played at full strength since I've been here. It's like been self-imposed penalties, but we have not been at full strength. Next year, I want to play with 85 guys on a scholarship, and we haven't had the luxury of doing that.
Mark, here's so much talk about high school kids have to focus on one sport only if they're going to be any good, but I see a lot of multi-sport players on this. How does that transform to the football field?
Yeah, I think that says a lot about just athletes in general. You know, we want athletic guys. We want versatile guys. I love the fact that these guys, a lot of them, many of them play basketball. I think Lynn, I was talking to Lynn, it was bright and early this morning, but he was half asleep, but I think he said he had 33 last night, you know, on the basketball floor. He's just an athlete, and quite a few of these guys, you know, they run track, they may play baseball, and, you know, I like that in a prospect.
But the 3 wasn't bad.
alternate sport for a guy? What do you think pans out? the
It's
most
hard to
with
beat.
those guys?
It's hard to beat basketball. I think a lot of guys, but the ball skills that are involved in in baseball, a lot of that translates as well. So anything, whether it's soccer, baseball, basketball,
You ever
whatever.
look for linemen that wrestle?
I do like wrestling. I do. So I've coached some guys through the years that were some very good players for us that were wrestlers. I don't know if there's a sport that challenges you more personally and more one-on-one than wrestling. That's a brutal sport. I went to Iowa. I was not a wrestler. In Northeastern Ohio, wrestling is big, but I didn't wrestle at all. We didn't have it at my school. But certainly at Iowa, I was friends with some of those guys, and they're all a little bit nuts, but they're very, very tough guys.
Why don't you talk about how deep this class is? Talk about somebody that,
Go ahead.
that we need to watch for.
Tell me again.
So you talk about the depth of the class, how deep it is. Talk about somebody we need to watch for.
Well, I was asked that earlier on the show. I think Sebastian Dolcine, is a guy that's a little under the radar. I think is going to be a very good football player. I think all the O-linemen. Austin, is going to be the same way. Defensively, maybe a guy under the radar that doesn't get talked a lot about. Maybe Chris Whitaker. A guy I have high expectations with is Lonnie Johnson. Is a guy that I think really has a chip on his shoulder. Is a good-looking, strong athlete. I think can come in and help immediately. We talked about Lynn and Josh. I think those are obvious guys.
What does it say about Lonnie that he was able to persevere through that junior college ranks? I mean, I think he signed 3 times.
Yeah, we knew Lonnie coming out of high school, and so we've known about him for a while and watched him for a while. It says a lot about him, and he is a special young man, and he's been through a lot, like many of these guys, and many of them have their own unique individual story that they've overcome quite a few things. And Lonnie's another one of those guys, and he has, just like he told you, he has an opportunity to hit the reset button, start over, and do something special here at Kentucky, and I hope he does. I have high expectations for him.
Talked about character of winners.
Mhm.
There's probably nobody on this list with, Austin Dotson's resume as far as that
4
goes.
state championships. Yeah.
Can you talk about just, watching
Yeah.
him over the last couple of years?
We've watched him and known him for a while. Great young man. I always get a smile when I talk about him because I just get a kick out of him. Eastern Kentucky, winning high school tradition. I really thoroughly enjoyed my home visiting him. I don't know if I should say that or not, but I could tell you what Grandma said to me within the first 5 minutes in the house, but I would embarrass myself more than I normally do. So
You gotta say it.
Yeah, so we left the high school. We're driving up there, and and he lives 30 minutes from the high school. Very hard to get to. I'll just leave it at this. We couldn't get. He took a lot of pleasure in spitting up all kind of dirt on Coach Schlarman's car. just spun his tires out, got mud all over there. And Grandma, I guess I gotta say it, but I'm not in the house. 5 minutes, and she's wonderful. Gives me a big hug, very inviting, and then she gets right into the bowl game. What were y'all doing? You look so stupid. I said, well, hi, Grandma, I heard about you. Yeah, she makes some great fried chicken. Yeah.
Mark, with promoting Matt to the defense, are you going to take a back seat again as you did last year, or are you going to keep staying the back?
I'll do what's necessary. We'll see what happens. I have confidence in Matt, as I had confidence in DJ. DJ did a great job for us, and I appreciate all his hard work. And I have a lot of confidence in Matt and our defensive staff. I'll hire a special teams outside linebacker coach here relatively soon, and so no, I'll be heavily involved just because I'm comfortable in doing that now. Just where the program's at, and a lot of the fundraising, a lot of things are done, and our roots are planted, and I feel good and I feel comfortable in the role. So I'll definitely continue to be as active as I can.
Mark, what kind of feedback have you gotten from recruits over the years about where this program is headed, and how much does that kind of encourage you about the direction you're going?
Well, I think, I'm very encouraged because I feel like we could go and compete and recruit anybody. That doesn't mean you're gonna get them. There's a lot of schools that lose a lot of players. We're not the only ones. You get the ones you're supposed to, and I have a lot of confidence in that. I feel very, very good about this class, and I feel, like I said, I just feel like it's the best class top to bottom. And that's no disrespect to the other guys, because I love them and they're going to be great players and we're going to win a bunch of games. But it just takes a lot of great classes, and we want to continue to build on that. And we hope next year's class is even better, and we anticipate that it will.
Have the coach anything, one thing that they like about this program?
Well, I think, a lot of things I've read and people tell me that the big thing is the players feel comfortable. And that's a credit to our staff, our families, everybody that's involved. We take a very family-orientated approach to where we want everybody to feel good and feel comfortable and build relationships. There's not a lot of pressure, even with guys that maybe went to the wire that we didn't get. It's not our approach to break somebody's arm or try to twist their arm. We don't twist anybody's arm to get a commitment. We want guys that want to be here and believe in what we're doing, and our staff has done a great job with that.
Mark, what's your comfort level in being the same offense, being the same offense 2 years in a row now, unlike since
Well,
you've been here?
I feel a lot better about it than I have, just for that reason, because we had success. I think that goes without saying, that there's a lot of things that we can build on offense, defense, and special teams. There's a lot we can improve on, and we know that, and we'll get to work immediately on that. But I do have a lot of confidence in the good things that we've done and the staff that we have in place.
What's
Mark.
it like for you the night before signing day?
Pardon me?
What's it like for you the night before signing day?
It's somewhat nerve-wracking. We were on the phone all day yesterday. You got to realize, even many of our recruits, even though they were steady and we kept every one of them, doesn't mean that people aren't knocking down their doors. They're knocking down their doors all day. It's a dirty business at times, and so you just got to stay on your P's and Q's and cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure you have everybody on the same page. And so we were on the phone all day yesterday, and I was on the phone into the evening last night.
What was your last call?
I got a phone call that I didn't really enjoy about 10 o'clock.
Marcus, was there a specific position that you thought you needed to address in this class that you really liked what you did?
Pardon me?
A
A position?
group that you thought you needed?
I think we touched in a lot of areas. We signed 10 big guys, 3 O-linemen, 7 if you count outside backers, D linemen, and 11 skill guys, 2 quarterbacks. So I think we touched on a lot of areas. I think, we all know that you need to continue to build depth at defensive line. With the outside backer defensive line, I think is always important. In offensive line, we want to continue to stay. We feel like we have a solid group coming back, and we want to continue to build with that. And the skill goes without saying. It was important for us to get some players at wide receiver, because this next class, we're going to lose a bunch of players that are going to be seniors this upcoming year.
Lonnie Johnson seems like he really fits that mold of a bigger corner that you all like. How much will it help him kind of being here early to work for?
It'll definitely help having him here. We didn't play last year, and he's been at junior college, so he needs to develop some winning habits, and he'll do that. He'll have a lot of structure, and he'll get to work. And I think he told you that those first 2 workouts, he wasn't used to working at that pace, and that was just a warm-up for us. So we'll get going and amping it up. And but the good thing about him is he's an athlete, and he'll catch on real quick. He's a big, strong, good-looking guy, and he'll pick it up pretty quick. So it's good that he's here.
Mark,
There's a lot of talk about football.
From day one to now, how close do you looking at yourself and saying this sucker is built? I mean, it's never built, but
No,
to be built.
it's never built. It's another notch, that's for sure. Definitely, I think, I've never denied that the on the field, proof has to be there. You have to verify it with wins. Nobody, you all are in here, and you've seen the ups and the downs, and building this program. But you have to get some victories. Your players work to win games, and your coaches coach to win games, and so it was important for us to take that next step. We're not at all satisfied with where we were. We felt like, we certainly left some games on the table that we had an opportunity to win, but we won some close ones as well. So we know that's part of it. But I know this, we're going to continue to work. We'll be a better football team next year without question. Our guys have the right mindset where we're at right now, coming back, starting the lifting, the running, the foundation that we have right now is not even close to where we've been before, including last year. So I think our players are definitely ready to take the next step. We have some maturity within our program. We have some experience, and so we're ready to build on that.
Jen, last one.
A couple of your assistants talked about football IQ in this group and what they saw.
Yeah.
How do you judge that? How do you gauge that when a kid comes on a visit, and how important is that?
I think it is. It's important on the visit. It's important to see them in a classroom, in a meeting, and talking about some football and seeing how they pick things up. That's important for us, but it also shows up on the field, just awareness and the way they play. And we study a lot more than just a highlight film. So, we really feel like these guys have a lot of versatility. And the awareness, it also comes with the guys that I talked about with that winning attitude and character. So it's a special group. So I'd like to wrap it up again by just saying thank you to all you. Thanks for your interest. Thanks for your coverage. I appreciate our staff, our wives, our families, for the sacrifice that they make. It's been a long year, culminating with this class here today that's going to represent this university the right way. The fans are going to be very proud of this group. It's a great foundation for a freshman class for next year, and it's definitely going to help us in the future. We're excited about this year. I'm really happy to get this wrapped up, to be honest with you, and on to developing our players and getting to work with our players next week. So thank you all very much.